Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dan, the voice behind ThatKaitoDan, and it's time for round 3 of the RWBY ship name analysis. But if you haven't seen the previous 2 helpings, click the links here. Also a reminder that some of these ships may contain content that will either be adult themed, have questionable topics, or contain elements that may spoil the show for you if you haven't seen up to volume 3, so please be cautious. With that being said, let's get back into the action. Jean and Nora. Given Jean once sang his feelings out to a girl in the past, maybe the song Electric Feel could be used to try and win over the spunky shocker of his team. If the ship did sail, it could also be called Nora's Ark, using the pair's names to refer to the iconic Ark of Noah's. Jean and Pyrrha. Another of the big popular ships. This time it's Arcos, the combo of the pair's last names. Though like White Rose, I remember a time early on when they were also called Vermilion too, the orange-reddish color shade. Jean and Ren. If you want to see Mr. Ark with his fellow male from Team Juniper though, there's Martial Arcs, thanks to the addition of the martial arts savvy huntsman, who, thanks to the lie part of his name and Jean's cheating to get into Beacon, can give us lie and cheat too. Jean and Sun. That last one comes into play for the pairing of Jean and Sun too. This time Jean's cheating mixing up with Sun's habit of pinching things to make cheat and steal. To make things even more awkward, there's also before and after, making a joke Sun looks to be the more attractive of the two to some. Jean and Sage. This first ship calls back to the 3 wise men from Christian lore, and 2 of the gifts for Jesus, gold and myrrh. One fitting the yellow themed Jean, and the other being resin from a tree, fitting for Sage. The other name I'll mention being Fennel is based on the yellow flower of the same name. Jean and Neptune. Poor Jean's klutziness is back again, this time working with Neptune's ironic fear of the water to give us floaties, a handy item for those not yet savvy when it comes to swimming. If not that, then just mix Neptune's blue traits with the letter J to make Blue Jay, like the bird. Jean and Coco. And again with Jean's clumsiness, dude can't catch a break. Now we've got Strut and Stumble, referring mostly to Coco's catwalk stepping. If Jean did go with Coco though, they could share a nice blonde roast at a Starbucks, or whatever Remnant's version of the place is. Jean and Velvet. Both are victims of Cardan's bullying, and maybe they could use that to form a good relationship, and bring us Scarlet Knight, Velvet's last name, and Jean's warrior class combined. Or Playboy Bunny, a callback to Jean's approach of flirting, and Velvet being Remnant's sole notable bunny faunus. Jean and Fox. A bit of a stretch here for The Fox and the Hound Dog, but in the Disney film The Fox and the Hound, there's a fox, which is simple enough to explain there, and a hound dog, who has a similar blonde hair color to Jean. Jean and Yatsuhashi. Another pair of names now based on the same origin, that being Marco Polo and Silk Road. Marco Polo was a European traveler who once ventured the trade routes between the West and East, which was called the Silk Road. Jean of course being based on a European in Joan of Arc, over in the West, and Yatsu's origins being based in the East, in Asia. Jean and Cardan. Some people do ship Jean with his one-time bully Cardan Winchester, though they've always had some history if you look at their inspirations. The Cardinal of Winchester presided over the trial convicting Joan of Arc. So yeah, there is some weight behind the ship known as Archester, another name combo there, or Conviction. Jean and Sky. Jean's poor landing strategy during the initiation inspires the ship name of Free Falling between him and the other Cardinal member, Sky. Jean and Cinder. Boy is this pair dark following past events. I guess Jean would be a fallen knight if he did turn to the dark side for the woman who's packing more heat than an electric arc furnace. Jean and Roman. Give Jean credit, even in a dress he is a talented dancer, but if he paired up with the smooth criminal Roman, the name coming from a Michael Jackson hit, he may have to get back into his tux to match up with Tortrick's sharp style of attire and be a dapper dancer duo. Jean and Neo, the knightly young man and the silent right-hand lass to Roman. Makes sense for the name Silent Knight. If that's not for you, then for a plain dude like Jean, how about a plain ice cream flavor? Vanilla ice cream. Jean and Emerald. Who else like Jean wields a sword and a shield and has blonde hair? How about the emerald green garbed hero from Legend of Zelda, Link, who, like Emerald, has collected a ton of rare minerals over his adventures. She may have even pinched a Jean-like yellow topaz. Jean and Mercury. Here's a fun one. We've got male bees for another ship mixing a yellow-haired fighter and one clad in black. Jean and Adam. I'm sure some of us would love to see Adam get his comeuppance off the past events, maybe at Jean's hand even, bested like many a bull by a sword-wielding matador. Jean and Junior. Bears apparently do love a bit of golden honey. I guess the Black Bears Jr. might like the honey-haired Jean. Jean and Penny. Jean's shield works as his safety measure, kinda like a circuit breaker for an electric current in a system. The second name of focus though is Da Vinci's Knight, referring to a knight-like robot apparently made by Leonardo da Vinci. This time it's harkening here to Penny's inspiration of Pinocchio, the puppet that was crafted by Geppetto. Jean and Ozpin. Mix together Jean's swordsman class with Ozpin's wizardry and you get a battle mage, capable of kicking butt with either swords or sorcery. Unless Ozpin sees this pairing as wasted energy, the feeling he had when he looked upon many of his new students, Jean included, that he felt might not be up to the task. Jean and Glinda. More swords and sorcery now. We got Jean with the headmaster's second in command. A magical master and a brave kind swordsman. Kinda like Merlin and King Arthur, except trade Excalibur for crochet Moors. Jean and Oobleck. Poor Jean, he's not the brightest lad, so I imagine he would need a lot of extra credit to catch up in lessons, especially in some of Oobleck's. Jean and Port. Crying Wolf is based on The Boy Who Cried Wolf, which is the story that Port is actually based from. The lad not learning constant lying comes with a price when no one believes you. Something Jean might need to be careful of if he lies any more after he faked his way into Beacon. Jean and Winter. In the Marvel side of comics, there's a character named Winter Soldier. Well, for RWBY, why not make it Winter Knight, since we do have a knight here and someone straight up called Winter. Jean and Crow. A plume is a long soft feather that's kinda puffy, kinda like Jean's bedhead-like hair. Jean and Ironwood. The role of Commander-in-Chief is an officer in charge of a nation's armed forces. That's basically what Ironwood is for Atlas, though he did give orders to Jean and the others at Amity Coliseum. Jean and May. The Berthier is a type of rifle used by the French army, France of course being the home of Jean's inspiration, Joan of Arc, with the rifle working nicely with May's choice of firearm. Jean and Reese. More of the extreme huntress now, her skater girl attitude working with Jean's sword means we can trade out her hoverboard for some rollerblades. Jean and Ciel. Now we've got Chevalier du Ciel, French for sky fighters. The French usage obviously coming from both of these two fighters having French-based names, and Ciel meaning sky. Jean and Amber. Even full maiden Amber gets a ship, though this one is kinda sad. Jean was told by Ozpin to be on guard during the power transfer in the vault, but he failed. Jean, you had one job! Nora and Pyrrha. Both of these two are full of love and yet very capable in the war zones, so Love and War is a fitting name. There's also electromagnetism, based on their respective semblance powers of electricity charging and polarity coming together. Nora and Ren. Together or not, it won't stop the fans shipping these two, with names like Team Sloth, referring to the animal that Nora used as an inspiration for a call during the initiation to find Ren, or Boop, from the cute poke that Nora gave her partner upon finding him. Nora and Sun. Nora's inspiration of Thor comes from high above the clouds, and of course the actual sun is also way up there, so Heavenly Warriors works fine. Nora and Sage. Stop! Hammer time! Yep, this is a reference to MC Hammer's notable hit, trading out the time part for the plant. Nora and Neptune. Thor's mastery over lightning and Neptune's control of the seas would mean that these two could be called gods of the storm. There's also a Norse water master in Aegir. Nora and Coco. Nora's a bit wild at times, so much so that if we trade Coco's first letter for an L, most might be able to describe Nora as Loco. These two could also be known as the ship Chocolate Thunder, which among many things is also the name of a comic book superhero. Nora and Fox. Thunder Fox was the name of an arcade game for the Sega Genesis, the name coming from the game's anti-terrorist team. Nora and Velvet. Not much I could find on Storm Bunny's inspiration, honestly, but I would imagine a rabbit might need to get quick out of dodge to avoid any thunderstorms. Quick is also another ship name for these two, likely referring to the video game character Quick the Thunder Bunny. Nora and Yatsuhashi. Yatsu and Nora must have some really good arm strength to wield their respective weapons, so fittingly, Arm and Hammer is one ship name used, based on the American household product manufacturer. There's also Krumcake, a Norwegian waffle cookie. Nora and Cinder. Forget the Norse battles of Ragnarok, any battlefield shared between these two would be Ragnaroked, especially if Nora tried to turn the flamethrowing vixen into a personal anvil. Nora and Roman. Mix together one sugar-happy Nora with Roman's cane and you get Candy Cane's second use in this project. Mix together Roman's jack-o'-lantern-like emblem plus Nora's hammer and you can also get Smash-o'-lantern. Nora and Neo. The two shortest folk in the casts here. These two could bond over their stature with some short stack pancakes or some ice cream pancakes. Nora and Emerald. I doubt even Emerald could be skilled enough to switch from stealing rings and wallets to being a lightning thief, like the one in Percy Jackson's world. The only thing that may be harder would be trying to pinch from an actual thunderbolt like Nora herself. A real brutal clash for sure between Hammer and Sickle if they did rumble, the ship name making its second appearance in this project as well. Nora and Mercury. Sugarfoot is one ship name for the Chip and Nora's pairing with Merc, the name also used for a type of shoe. Doubt that's the kind of footwear that Mercury would wear, he's better off with his greaves, especially if he clashes his lightning feet with Miss Lightning herself. Nora and Adam. We've seen Nora ride in actual Ursa, but it might be grim, pun intended, if she tried to go rodeo on the bull of White Fang, Adam Taurus. Nora and Junior. Nora has a bear-like brute nature in combat like any Ursine. No question she would easily give the Black Bear Jr. a run for his money. Nora and Ozpin. The sweet-loving student and her headmaster now, their pair being named Butterscotch, often found in various treats, though I guess for Ozpin, he would prefer the liquor. Nora and Glinda. Combo up Nora's striking swings and Glinda's psychic-like semblance, and you can make the Of Might and Magic pair shout Sayonara to their victims, instead of, sayonara. Nora and Oobleck. Both of these two dash around the place like they drink nothing but Monster Energy drinks, but when the Doctor and the Hammer Queen get into the things, it's only right that their ship can be called Dr. Payne as well. Nora and Port. A splitting maul is an item with both a hammer and an axe feature, both of these of course being the weapon of choice for Nora and Port. Nora and Cardin. When it comes to Cardin, I think we all want to see Nora break his legs, or perhaps play whack-a-mole with a hammer. Nora and Winter. Thanks to the elemental traits of these two, it's fair for this ship to be called Frostbolt. Nora and Crow. The dusty old crow's nickname teams up with Nora's weapon here to give us the ship name Dusty Hammer. Nora and Ironwood. metal works quite well as a lightning rod when it comes to handling some strong sparks. Nora and Penny. Two of Remnant's resident ginger snaps now, Penny's robo-ness and Nora's trademark boop doubles up to make the ship name beep boop, like the noise people make when they try to do a robot impression. Nora and Neon. Valkyries are women warriors native to Nora's Norse background. It's even her last name, though few warriors act like Neon, often dragging a rainbow trail behind her as she skates on by. Kinda like the Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost, that actually leads into the Norse home of gods that is Asgard. Pyrrha and Ren. According to Greek mythology, there was an island of lotus fruit plant eaters. This inspires one name of use for these two, thanks also to Ren's emblem of a lotus to make Lotus Island. The other name of note is Honor Roll, working here since it's a duo of a grade A student and the honorable Mulan-based huntsman. Pyrrha and Sun. More Greek mythology, this time sun leading to the use of Helios, the sun god. For something a bit more modern though, how about the Gold Star student mixing with the monkey boy to make a golden ape? Hopefully not as dangerous as the one in the world of Dragon Ball. Pyrrha and Neptune. The Greek god version of the Roman god Neptune is named Poseidon, who, like the moon's strong magnetic force field affecting the Earth's seas, may cause some high tides. Pyrrha and Scarlet. Pyrrha of course was once up for the Four Maiden Powers, and another name for the season is Autumn. Slap on some Scarlet Red and we get Red Autumn. Pyrrha and Velvet. This one calls to Hoplites. Not a Raptor Achilles though, but it's an actual kind of Greek soldier. The second one is rather charming though. Cardan's worst nightmare. Dude would be toast if he was actually bullying Pyrrha Nikos' girlfriend. Pyrrha and Coco. Another cereal-based name here. This time it's for a RWBY version of Cocoa Puffs. Miss Adele's making it Cocoa Puffs though. Maybe these two could have some over some cappuccino as well. Pyrrha and Fox. Spartan Fox is the name here, which is kinda easy enough to say. It's a fox in Sparta, a prominent city in ancient Greece. Pyrrha and Yatsuhashi. Another pair of honorable fighters, both of these two being very honor-bound to others, especially those they most care about. There's also baklava, a sweet pastry treat golden like parts of clothes that Pyrrha wears. Pyrrha and Salem. This ship name actually comes out of the theory from the RWBY fandom, since some think that Salem could somehow be able to reincarnate the fallen huntress into her fold in some sort of grimification state. Pyrrha and Cinder. Sadly, it wasn't a Cupid's arrow hitting Pyrrha, but a real one from Cinder. So don't be surprised when I say that there's actually some ship names based on that moment, like Fallen Star and Disintegrated. Do I even need to explain that one? Pyrrha and Roman. A character based on a Greek legend and a guy actually named Roman. Easy to see why we've got names for these two having elements familiar to some ancient history, like one ship name of 300, the name of the graphic novel and film based on that same many men in Leonidas' army during the Persian Wars. Pyrrha and Neo. I've never tried any Greek yogurt, but it sounds quite interesting to try. Anyway, since these two are some of the most nimble and difficult foes to hit, let alone defeat, it's fair to say these two are the untouchables of the RWBY world. Pyrrha and Emerald. Another mineral-based reference here, taking Pyrrha's golden-colored attire pieces for some copper, often used in coins. There's also gaslighting, a very nasty form of mental torture twisting one's logic, kinda like what Emerald's semblance did when she tricked Pyrrha at the tournament. Pyrrha and Mercury. Mercury's happy feet now the focus, playing into Pyrrha's inspiration to form the Achilles heel, the weak point that felled the Greek legend Achilles. The other name of highlight is pole dancing, mixing Miss Nikos' polarity semblance with some of Mercury's skillful dancer-like moves in battle. Pyrrha and Adam. Now, this one is a hard one to pronounce, so forgive me if I get this wrong. Kalikotorai was two bulls that the Greek legend Jason had to tussle with. Another Greek legend also refers its name to this ship, the fabled Minotaur. Pyrrha and Junior. Another case where ship names are used more than once, as shown here with Polar Bear being once more tagged onto a junior ship, after its use for him and Weiss. Thankfully, there's also option 2, which is the Red Panda, that's used thanks to Pyrrha's red hair. Pyrrha and Melanie. Melanie's choice of footwear aren't exactly golden sandals, like Nike, the Greek goddess of victory, once wore. Pyrrha and Ozpin. These two are just as much the stuff of legends as their ship name suggests, thanks to Pyrrha's gifted combat skills and Ozpin's mysterious nature. Pyrrha and Glinda. I'm sure a great student like Pyrrha would definitely earn top marks in class, much to Glinda's approval. The magical mistress also leading to the ship name of Circe, the Greek goddess of magic. Pyrrha and Oobleck. More history lessons now via some Greek-based ships. This time we have Herodotus, the Greek historian, often dubbed the father of history. Pyrrha and Port. Then we go to drinks with Mavro Daphne, a wine like the port kind, only this one is from Greece. Pyrrha and Ironwood. And then we've got some more history now with Hephaestus, the master blacksmith god from Greece. Pyrrha and Winter. I admittedly can't find the exact inspiration behind this one, but I know that Fatal Attraction is a film about an affair gone wrong. Maybe Pyrrha has to be careful who she attracts with her polarity semblance, especially if it's a skilled fighter like Winter. Pyrrha and Penny. Let's face it, we all saw the death flags that signal someone's imminent demise when they got paired up at the tournament thanks to Cinder's schemes. But still, as a ship, Pyrrha's semblance may lead to a literal magnetic attraction to the synthetic, who she faced in dramatic fashion in the tournament, thanks to, Penny being metallic. Pyrrha and Amber. This is an interesting one. It's a ship between Pyrrha and the previous full maiden Amber, but going by the ship name Last Resort, it's playing off the idea that if Pyrrha did tie her life to Amber's aura and became the full maiden, at the cost of possibly changing herself as a person, maybe completely, it would be enough to still have some way to let her fulfill her destiny and still be with Jean. Pyrrha and Cardan. I'd call him a lucky guy, but Cardan is more of a poor sap if he did have feelings for the girl he once tried to get covered in wasp attracting sap. Unfortunate indeed if Pyrrha ever caught wind of that. Pyrrha and Reese. More polarity puns now, this time working with Reese's skater gimmick to make for the trick pun of a pole grind. Pyrrha and Summer. A nice Greek summer setting would be a good holiday atmosphere. Sadly, Pyrrha won't be able to see another summer's day, as her burnt ashes scattered in the wind like the words written on Summer's grave. Where the kindly part might not be true, kindly scattered is the other ship name for these two. Pyrrha and the Shopkeep. Yeah, Shopkeep gets some action too, paired with Pyrrha to make Greasy Spoon, something I'm sure that he's seen a few of with his work in catering. Pyrrha and Tuxan. Another Tuxan one now. Greek shared many words via scriptures, just like the books that Tuxan once surrounded himself with. Pyrrha and the Spring Maiden. Even a fellow maiden gets into the shipping fun here. The original Spring Maiden, paired with the one-time possible Full Maiden, gives us the healthy Greek salad. Ren and Sun. Returning to a previous ship inspiration, we have Lie and Steal, the other combo of the crime-based names. Thanks to these two Chinese inspirations, they'd also make two great Eastern buddies. Ren and Neptune. Ren's Lotus inspires water lilies, being the name for this pairing with the lad who ironically is afraid of the water. Maybe Ren, with his skill of keeping a very zen-like state, could help Neptune find some calm waters to relax in regardless of his fear. Ren and Sage. More Eastern love again, this time with Ren and Sage making the ship name Eastern Forest. These two could explore that forest-filled area, or just stay at home and enjoy some green tea, like the pair of Blake and Ubeck who also use this name. Ren and Coco. There's actually some very well crafted chocolates shaped like lotus flowers, so for these two, we get Chocolate Lotus. Ren and Velvet. More tea now, specifically some velvet tea. Maybe the two could enjoy some while searching for the moon rabbit, the bunny image some see on the moon's surface that is also often used in Eastern culture. Ren and Yatsuhashi. Again, forgive me if I butchered this name, and I probably butchered some others, but next up it's Meibutsu, the term for any famous region-specific Japanese snacks. A cool name for a pair who are often very calm and collected, so I guess for them they could also use the term silence is bliss. Ren and Cinder. The next one for Ren is with Cinder, making Kasai no Onna, an Asian term quite accurately describing Miss Fall, a true lady of fire. Ren and Neo. Shaved ice makes for a popular cool treat, though imagine having some fresh off Ren's bladed guns, and from a vicious woman like Neo. Gotta shout out though one of possibly my most favoured ship names I found during research for this. Since both of these two are people of very little to no words at all, I guess they would like some goddamn peace and quiet. Ren and Emerald. I imagine a skillful thief like M would have a treasure trove capable of rivaling most dragons' hordes. I wondered though, like her ship name with the green-clad fighter, if she's pinched any jade dragons. Ren and Junior. Kingling for this ship comes from the pandas of the same name, a subspecies to be more precise that is often found in the Qing Mountains of China. Ren and Militia. Both Ren and Militia have proven to be more than passable at Kung Fu, a blanket term for most martial arts. Ren and Penny. When it comes to fighting though, both of these two will put a pedal to the metal, or I guess for Ren's lotus flower it's more a petal to the metal. I doubt though any of Penny's parts might require the need for a Made in China logo, by the way. Ren and Ozpin. A metronome makes for a good item to aid in finding a solid, balanced tempo, ticking along like a clock or the gears in Ozpin's office, thus this ship name for Ozpin and a calm-mannered Ren. Ren and Oobleck. To quote the popular song, everybody was kung fu fighting, like Ren. Those kicks were fast as lightning, like Oobleck. Ren and Cardin. I'm sure Ren would love to bring some forced indoctrination teaching of good manners to Cardin to pass on his friendlier nature, or at least stop him from being a bully. But he could just beat the bully and Team Cardinal leader in a game of shogi, otherwise known as the General's Game. And that's all the Juniper involved ships done. Coming soon will be the parts that involve ships for all the members of either Team Sun or Team Coffee. Be sure to like the video if you did, and subscribe to keep up to date on future uploads. Plus, follow me on Twitter at ThatKaitoDan for more from yours truly. Until next time, have a good day or good night, and peace out.